Play that funky music, hacker boy. AI gets no copyrights, and CISA is ready to secure your RMM. These stories and much more in today's episode of MSP Dispatch.
This episode is presented by OIT VoIP. Enhance your client's communication abilities with our VoIP solution, featuring integrated billing, on-demand training, and live US support. Collaborate seamlessly with Microsoft Teams integration and put your entire phone system in your pocket with Mobile X. Improve your offerings and increase profitability with reliable service for 1/10 of the average MSP acquisition cost. To learn more, visit oit.co or dial 844-CALL-OIT.
Good morning and welcome to the August 22nd episode of MSP Dispatch, your source for news, community events, and commentary in the MSP channel. I'm Ray Orsini, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Tony Francisco. How you doing, Tony?
Good, brother, good. We have 142 episodes. 142 episodes in. Can you... amazing. That's a gang side. Dude, now we're going to get killed. That was a gang side.
No, I'm not like... I was stealing home. I was doing the Macarena. We should exit that stage left real quick.
Yeah, exactly. No, I had an awesome weekend. What am I doing? Cleaning. I'm literally cleaning my closet and finding all the stuff that I didn't need. I'm like, hey, this shirt hasn't fit me since like the 70s. What's going on with you, brother?
I'm pretty sure you're wearing one of those 70s shirts at ChannelCon. It's the only excuse I could possibly, come up with for those pictures. But all right, so you ever have a hard time falling asleep and you put on like some nature sounds, like some rainfall or some thunderstorms or like the beach? Like, that's a normal thing, right? Like, you've done that before.
Absolutely.
Tony's going to be like, no, I don't. I make the sounds now. Now, how amazing would it be if those sounds were the sounds of Lego? So, apparently, Lego, the company, right? The little the bricks that you step on when your kid left them out in the middle of the night. Every parent has been through this, and uncle, aunt, whatever, and brother, sister. So Lego released an ASMR green noise playlist featuring sounds from its new insect collection, recreated using Lego bricks. And they didn't just say, "Hey, let's get some interns to do this." They got Emmy-nominated Foley artist Sanaa Kelly, which I'm sure I'm butchering his or her name, and I apologize, but they won an Emmy for their work as a Foley artist, so they have to know what they're doing. And they created all these sounds, like blue morpho butterfly and Hercules beetle and Chinese mantis. And they're all made from the Lego bricks in the packaging. I mean, I think it's pretty damn awesome. Like, would you fall asleep to Lego bricks, Tony?
Ray, there are two absolutes on this planet. Stepping on a Lego at night is absolutely in the top 5 most painful things you experience.
Oh, yes.
And there is nothing more exhausted than a pit bull that's been doing absolutely nothing all day. There's nothing. They just lay. If you've ever seen a pit bull dog, they just lay there like, oh, I'm so tired.
My Yorkie Bella, she sleeps all day here, then gets home, and sleeps at home. The best part is when we're leaving for the day, she runs downstairs to go to the front door to make sure we're leaving to go to the office, just so she can come here and sleep.
It's the pre-nap nap. Because you have to have the pre-nap nap before you have the nap before you go to bed.
So are you saying I should play the green noise for her so she can sleep better?
Just dumping Legos, and she'll be like, well, it's somewhere between the most painful thing ever. And so what are they doing? Are they just kind of dumping them? Like,
I don't know. We're going to have to maybe we'll get Phil to link to one of their playlists or something. I'm sure it's on YouTube already.
It's got to be like the most relaxing sound, or could it result in like the brown noise? Is that in my South Park? No.
Are you trying to get the brown note out of Lego?
Brown note.
Tony, we got news to cover, sir.
We got news, man. Let's jump into some stories.
In my top security story, the Play ransomware group targeting MSPs worldwide and a new campaign written by Jai Vijayan for Dark Reading. In a recent cyber attack campaign, the Play ransomware group, previously known for targeting the city of Oakland, has shifted its attention to managed service providers globally. This campaign aims to distribute ransomware to the customers of these MSPs and employs a tactic of intermittent encryption, selectively encrypting portions of files to evade detection. The group's targets span mid-sized businesses across a range of sectors, including the US, Australia, UK, Italy, and various other countries. Adlumin, in its tracking, has also observed PlayCrypt, targeting state and local entities within these regions. The group accesses MSP systems through phishing campaigns, exploiting Microsoft Exchange vulnerabilities, and other security flaws. In post-compromise actions, they use various tools like proxy-not-shell vulnerabilities, SSRF, and legitimate PowerShell scripts for malicious activities. The Play ransomware employs intermittent encryption, making data partially inaccessible and posing challenges for victims. Based on Adlumin's data, Play initiated its operations around June 2022 with over 150 victims identified thus far. Despite previously having associations with Latin America, the group's current focus appears to be on the United States and Europe. Tony, it's yet one more malware actor going after MSPs. CISA has been warning us about this. We see the news. We knew this was coming since July 4th, 2021? I mean, let's that faithful 4th of July weekend.
Wow.
Is this just one more thing to add to the list? Does it affect how you pay attention to the security landscape?
It says one thing very clearly. MSPs, you are important. You are a target. You are absolutely going to be what I consider to be the critical chain or critical link in that chain of, call them customer base, we'll call them usage, consumption base, the procurement, the management, the payment. All of the items come through you from your customers. So they're moving upstream. We've seen it go to your suppliers as they moved up to hashtag Kaseya and a variety of other LastPass. But we're seeing very clearly a focus and emphasis on that sweet middle spot, the MSP. Please, please, please be careful. Your job, by definition, is to manage the products and services, the network of your customers, which means by management, you have to be initiated, educated, experienced, and hopefully if you're doing this correctly, is not just a tactical day-to-day management, but it's also the teaching, the spreading of this knowledge to your customers so you can scope to scale. What are your thoughts on this, Ray? This is a fascinating story to me because it says so many things all in the same direction.
I think the interesting points to me are that a well-functioning ransomware group has pivoted because they're doing this based on business decisions. Let's be real clear. They're not doing this based on, oh, this looks fun. They're absolutely doing it based on how they're going to get the most amount of bang for their buck. How are they going to get the most amount of revenue? And they're seeing the target that MSPs are. They're seeing MSPs are the sweet spot where if you can leverage access into MSPs, you can absolutely get access to all these other systems. Realistically, MSPs should be enforcing zero trust as well, but MSPs have access. When you can create the admin account, when you can create the local user, it's a little dangerous. And I would like to see RMM vendors come out publicly and say, we know this is a thing. We're actively fighting against it. Now, I know ConnectWise is working with JCDC. I know, I believe Kaseya is as well. This is not like it's oblivious to these vendors. Ninja has talked about this ad nauseum. It's not that. I want to see the vendors come out and say, MSPs, we understand you're the target. We understand using our platforms makes you the target. We're going to also work with you to ensure that these things are locked down, that these things are protected, and we're going to tell you the best way to do it, because at the end of the day, it's like Andrew Morgan on his cyber call, at the time of this recording, it was the same day, and somebody was giving kudos to Ryan Weeks for giving clear, digestible, actionable items the MSP could do, as opposed to, it depends. Right? Like, that's the most dangerous part here. I want to know from our MSPs, what are you doing? Don't tell me it depends. Tell me what you're doing. If you're going to give 3 points of advice to your fellow MSP, what are they? Tell us in the comments below. Tell us on our Discord. We want to hear it. And speaking of play, I know when I go to play something on the radio, I'm going for happy birthday. I'm going, happy birthday. Wait, we can't say that because it's copyrighted. Tony, do you have any music that won't be copyrighted?
Well, AI-generated art cannot be copyrighted, and that came straight from a federal judge. In my first story from TheVerge.com, U.S. Court Judge Beryl A. Howell ruled that AI-generated artwork is not eligible for copyright. Stephen Thaler, creator of the Creative Machine algorithm, has sought copyright from an AI-produced image that was denied multiple times by the U.S. Copyright Office. Following the final rejection, Thaler sued the office. In her decision, Judge Howell highlighted the copyright requires human authorship, which is fundamental to its premise. She referred to past cases, such as the monkey selfie, to emphasize her point, but acknowledged that as AI becomes more common as a tool for artists, copywriting such works will pose challenges. Thaler intends to appeal this. The evolving relationship between AI and U.S. copyright law continues to spur legal disputes. Ray, let's unpack this just a little bit, and I want to copyright this before it goes into AI and somebody else copyrights it. What we're seeing right now is, and you referred to just a moment ago in the video, that we have a law specific, like a specialist for the MSP community, talking about legal frameworks, and can't that just be generated by AI? And in turn, can that not be considered either open source? Is there a EULA involved in that, or can you copyright that particular framework that was generated by an AI? Or what if that particular AI learns? Previous story we talked about the unlearning problem that AI has. Can that AI learn from the framework produced by a specialist and then syndicate that out to everyone else? What are your thoughts on this? I feel like we're getting into just a tangled web.
Can you hear it, Tony? I mean, just can you hear it? You hear the waves of Hollywood writers cheering because this is the solution to their strike. All right, go with me here. So the whole point is that Hollywood movie houses are using AI to generate scripts, to replace actors, to replace writers. And this U.S. District Court just said, you can't copyright any of that. Can you tell me the first movie house is going to put out any multi-million-dollar piece of work they can't copyright? Never gonna happen. I'm saying it right now to all those writers in Hollywood that are on strike right now. Just go home. You won. Congratulations, you won. That's the end of the conversation. Double your prices now because you absolutely earn more money. You deserve it. I mean, I don't know how else to look at this. I know that wasn't the point, and I know this can keep going up and up. I don't think this will ever rise to the level of Supreme Court because you have to have a right has to be violated, and there's no civil rights involved in this. Although I'm sure some attorney out there is going to argue some way, shape, or form to get it in front of the bench. But I don't know. To me, this looks like I can't say I disagree with it, just based on the fact it requires authorship. Who is the author? Is it everyone it was trained off of?
I think that's the question.
Works, right? Do they
Another
get a
question?
Right because you use them for training? I mean, we're still trying to figure out if a Pop-Tart is a freaking ravioli. Like, we're still like stuck with the basic questions here, and we're, and that's thanks to Dean Trampolis on our staff who brought that up. But we're still trying to deal with the basic questions. If people are coming out, should AI be copyrightable? What's your take, Tony? Do you think we're being a little too sensitive to the grammar and the dictionary definitions, or do you think this is the spirit of the law? You do need authorship to copyright a work.
Believe it or not, I think you hit it on the head without realizing you hit it on the head. The spirit of the agreement. So just for everyone's understanding, there can be an agreement. You cannot do this, but you can do that. However, if you do this one thing, you could break the spirit of the agreement, which is not necessarily doing this, nor doing that. It's breaking the spirit of the agreement, which is a very, very, very proven time and time again way to breach an agreement. And it is supported across the board, of course, depending on the perspective of whoever's justified the case. I believe this concept could break the spirit of an agreement where an actor is present, but then the actor is compensated, but then the face of the actor, the voice of the actor, the actions of the actor are syndicated through AI, and they are not compensated. I believe you're breaking the spirit of the agreement of the compensation, and I think that's what the entire point of contention is, which goes back to the main issue. If we don't address this now, it will remain a precedent that could unfold and then very, very unfortunate road ahead. And I think that's where we're at this point. I would love the input from everyone, because I'm pretty certain there are some MSPs in our audience that have published documentation that in some way, shape, or form is so proprietary, and it's got it's a signature of you, but then it was learned by an AI and then syndicated in some capacity. You're like, I use that term. Only I use that term. And what are your thoughts on that? Is it okay for them to do that? Do you enforce unlearning it? Do you get compensated on that? How do you address that? Or is there a way to stop it now?
Let's find out from our audience. MSPs, you tell us, because we're at time, but we want to hear from you. Where do you stand on this? Because if you don't know this, you're also creators. When you're making those scripts, when you're creating your documentation for onboarding your staff and your clients and offboarding them, and how you manage networks, those are creative works. You should hear about how you protect those things.
Absolutely. All that's needed is a plan. And you need a plan, right, Ray?
Tony, you're absolutely right. We do need a plan, and thankfully, CISA's here to give us a plan. And my third top security story, CISA releases JCDC Remote Monitoring and Management Cyber Defense Plan, posted on CISA.gov. CISA has released the Remote Monitoring and Management Plan, otherwise known as RMM, Cyber Defense Plan, a groundbreaking collaborative effort between the industry and government partners under the Joint Cyber Defense Collaborative, or JCDC. The strategic plan is designed to address the systemic risks associated with RMM software, which can serve as an entry point for cyber threat actors into the servers of MSPs and MSSPs. The repercussions of such breaches can ripple through small and medium-sized organizations that rely on MSPs and MSSPs for their security. Building upon the JCDC 2023 planning agenda, this release marks a significant milestone in the evolution of JCDC's core functions, which includes developing and coordinating cyber defense strategies, fostering operational collaboration, and disseminating cyber defense guidance. By working hand-in-hand with partners from government and the private sector, CISA aims to substantially diminish some of the most pressing cyber threats faced by the global cyber community. Tony, this sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot of good, I would think. But CISA's also been off the mark on the MSP realm. They're working to get there, but they've been kind of lofty when it comes to MSP definitions. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. Have you? The guidelines?
I have not, but I'm pretty certain that CISA watches our show, and they said,
for sure.
Listen, the berries are ripe and ready to be harvested. This is the MSP market is someone we need to help, because you know who's going after them? Everyone else, the bad guys. And so maybe CISA's coming along and saying, listen, MSP Dispatch, they've got this covered. They're on top of this. We need to create a guideline for them. We need to put together a group. We need to get all the forces. Avengers, assemble. That's what's going on. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's what it was? Yeah, no, I agree with you. As a matter of fact, CISA's last announcement talking about the need for MFA, I saw the byline. It said, as per MSP Dispatch. So, no, I get it. And you're welcome. What can I say? Except
it is really just pleasant to watch at a government level. And we've been talking about it here on the MSP Dispatch for a while. The government involvement, the government engagement in spearheading, hey, from an MSP, because we're that last mile between the customer and the vendor. Okay, we're the last mile that reaches that customer, and we span such a large area that frankly causes a lot of concerns, because in some areas, in some ways, we are the visual representation of anything goes wrong and what is the legal liability and the at-risk involved associated with being an MSP over an audience. And the other side is we're a specialist in doing X, which means we've omitted said liability, but now we have to have an expertise that it's no longer 2 inches deep, 5 miles wide. It's 5 miles deep, 2 inches wide. And so what happens with the assistance and the guidance, the framework across the board? And the government's getting involved right now to assist with all of the above. And it just makes me happy that the MSP community, the industry that we're in, is now not just taking recognition, but almost at the forefront of all of the thoughts, because we're recognizing that the bad guys are moving upstream. Am I on the right page?
No, I think you're right on the money. I couldn't agree with you anymore. It's nice to see. I like these guides because they tell you, do this, do this, do this, right? Ryan Weeks was talking today about, talking about MFA, and, if you use Duo, it's not enough to just have Duo, but Duo is absolutely MFA. So talking about like where it's enough, where it's not enough. A lot of it was around, let me see, I don't want to butcher his words because he actually speaks very eloquently. But it was around a lot of, it's not so much what you do, it's how you implement it. So, and you and I both know, you and I both operated very large systems before. The devil's absolutely in the details. I mean, one toggle can be the difference between secure and safe to it's open like Christmas in July. I don't know. For a lack of analogies, you still get the point. And so it's nice to see these guides come out that MSPs can point to and say, I did this, and this is CISA recommending this. It's not just me. So, and I appreciate that.
I like it. We're going in the right direction. I would love to hear the feedback from the MSP community, because at the end of the day, it's one thing to have it available. It's another thing to not know where to go. But it's an entirely separate argument to talk about, well, how do we implement something now that we understand it's available? How do we implement it? So I want to know what the next phase is for this particular framework, how we at the MSP Dispatch can get this out to everybody for assistance if possible. And I would love to hear the feedback from the MSP community of what else they would like to see, because it is clear the government's listening to us. Just want to throw that out there again.
As they should be. As they should be. But for now, Tony, what do you say we get to some notables?
Let's do it. And in my first notable mention from bleepingcomputer.com, Google is introducing a Chrome feature that alerts users if their installed extension is removed from the Chrome Web Store, often due to malware suspicions. Many rogue extensions make their way to the store, capable of tracking user data and even hijacking accounts. While Google might remove them from the store, they stay active in the user's browsers. To counter this, Google's Safety Check will notify users about these suspicious extensions, recommending their deletion. This tool will be available in Chrome 117, but can be previewed in Chrome 116 by enabling Extension Module in Safety Check. Users are immediately urged to delete extensions flagged as malware and exercise caution with users that violate this Google Store policies. And in my next notable mention from TechCrunch.com, Tesla says a data breach is impacting 75,000 employees, and it was an insider job. Tesla reported a data breach affecting 75,000 employees due to insider leaks, with 2 former staff members allegedly sharing personal data, including Elon Musk's social security number, with the German newspaper Handelsblatt. The breach encompassed a vast range of information, from employee details to customer complaints. Tesla has since taken legal action against the individuals involved, seizing their devices and preventing further data misuse. This incident follows earlier reports of Tesla employees sharing sensitive images from customer vehicles.
In my first notable mention, WinRAR Flaw lets hackers run programs when you open the archives. Written by Bill Toulis for Bleeping Computer. A critical security issue tagged as CVE 2023-40477 was discovered in WinRAR. enabling potential hackers to execute commands through RAR archives. Discovered by Goodbye Celine and reported to RAR Lab on June 8, 2023, the vulnerability stemmed from inadequate data validation during recovery, volume processing, potentially resulting in unauthorized memory access. Despite receiving a severity rating of 7.8, exploiting this vulnerability might not be overly challenging given WinRAR's extensive user base. In response, RAR Labs promptly released version 6.23, addressing this issue and resolving problems related to incorrect file initiation in specially crafted archives. It's worth noting that Windows 11 is currently testing native support for RAR, 7-zip, and GZ files, which could potentially reduce the reliance on third-party tools. In my second notable mention, LinkedIn suffers a significant wave of account hacks, written by Elizabeth Montalbano for Dark Reading. LinkedIn is currently facing a significant rise in account hacks, accompanied by hackers demanding ransoms for access. Though LinkedIn hasn't officially commented, reports indicate global impacts in recent weeks, leading to prolonged support response times. Two attack scenarios are evident. LinkedIn temporarily locks accounts due to suspicious activity or hackers gain full control, changing emails and demanding ransoms. Given LinkedIn's history as a previous target, it faces more threats due to its corporate prominence. Users are urged to promptly verify access, contact information, and enable two-step verification while monitoring unusual activity. In our resource of the week, Google Security Check, 60 seconds to kick out Snoops and hackers, written by Kib Commando for Fox News. Recent cyber attacks highlight growing digital threats, emphasizing the crucial need for individuals to safeguard their online presence, notably by securing their Google accounts. In this article, the author will show you how to secure your account in under 60 seconds. The link is in the show notes below.
There are plenty of amazing upcoming events taking place across the community, so let's see what's happening this week. Starting today, an in-person event, Kaseya and Datto Connect Local in Kansas City, Missouri. Also beginning today through August 25th, another in-person event, Vision 23 in Frisco, Texas. And tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Acronis Academy Cloud Tech Recertification Series. On August 24th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, PitchIT's Battle Royale Day 1. And on August 25th through the 26th, our final in-person event, BigBIG in Hollywood, Florida. And coming from the MSP Media Network this week, we have later today at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Wins and Losses, Episode 6. And tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, AI Roundup is back for Episode 24. On Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the Tech Bar Podcast welcomes Kevin Teglar of Cyberdrain. And on Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, the debut of our newest show, Bits and Books, Episode 1, Getting Naked. And of course, as always, on Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, MSP Dispatch presented by the MSP Media Network. Are you engrossed by the intriguing world of AI? Do you find yourself relying more on ChatGPT every day? Are you fascinated by creating visuals with Midjourney or Stable Diffusion? Or could it be you're contemplating the deep-seated implications AI has for your professional field? If you're struggling to keep abreast of all the AI developments, don't worry. I'm Phil Buck, the host of AI Roundup, a weekly digest of all things AI. Make sure to check in every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern for a concise roundup of the most captivating AI news right here on the MSP Media Network.
So how'd you like today's show? If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button. And if you didn't, go and hit it 3, 5, 7 times. You know what to do. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button on the YouTubes or your favorite podcatcher. Did you know we also have a Discord where we post stories all week? You can propose your own stories and even vote on which ones we'll cover. As my friend Rich Mankey says, make sure to tell a friend. Also be sure to follow us on social media at MSP Media TV. Have any questions? Email news@mspmedia.tv for answers on the next episode, or leave us a voicemail, 833-MSP Network. Tony, you know what I'm happy about most from this episode? Because we're not AI yet, we can go copyright this episode right now.
That's a really, but can we have AI copyright the episode, and then can we copyright the way we patent the way that AI copyrighted the episode.
Look, Tony, pillows, mattresses, accountants, and attorneys. Things I will never cheap out on when I'm going to buy them. Okay, we covered the story of that attorney that used the ChatGPT to write his brief and included a bunch of case law that didn't exist.
They didn't exist.
So,
that's the best. It was just made up.
And he's like, yeah. And I bet he's walking in like, wow, I just learned something today. But no. Mattresses, pillows, accountants, and and attorneys never skimp on paying those.
And that's why I keep businesses simple. Like the wheelbarrow business, you have a wheel and a burrow. That's it. You got a wheel and a burrow. That's all you have to deal with.
That's it.
That's what I like. A wheel and a burrow. What do you do?
I like my CPAs like I like my bed sheets. 1,000 thread count or more. No, that makes no fucking sense. So, with that, I think we should get off this train. Obviously, I've
landed.
Derailed. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching with us. We appreciate you. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Be safe, everyone.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.
Would you fall asleep to Lego bricks, Tony? Tony's muted. Tony's muted. It wasn't me. Tony's muted. It wasn't me. Ha ha ha. Ah. He is muted, right? Yeah, you're still muted, brother. I thought it was me for a second.
I'm
there
now
you
off.
go. I thought it was
It's
fucking
the
with me
producer.
again.
The producer is muting. Okay. So there's your B-reel. I fell into the trap.
Tony, we definitely need plans, and CISA's right here to give us that. They need to blah, 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 blah. Jesus Christ. All right. Oh, Tony, you'll love this. All right, we'll go back to work now.